Hi everybody, welcome to the first of what I hope is many videos to help you get through the audition process, being in musical theater, and what that all looks like here in today's age. My name is Kayla Johnston. I am the Artistic Director of the Dance and Theater program at Thrive Arts Academy, and I'm excited to share some of my experience with you. So coming up on our auditions for Seussical the Musical this coming spring, I've had a lot of parents asking me, why do we need to provide a resume? And I know that it might seem strange as a children's theater program to ask for a resume. However, we believe it's super important to start learning the skills that you're going to need in the professional world early on, and having a resume on hand is absolutely necessary for any kind of audition that you do in the professional world. And I'm excited to be able to share with you what it looks like to create a professional theatrical resume today. So today's resume that we're going to go over is specifically for auditioning for a musical theater production. And we're going to be using my resume, my current resume, as an example. It doesn't matter how much experience you have, we're going to go over a way to make your resume look and feel nice no matter how much experience that you've had. And I'm excited to get started. So at the very top of your resume, you should have your name. It should be big, it should be bold, it should be the very first thing that someone notices about your resume. And you should also have it done in whatever format that you want to be known as in the theatrical world. So my resume has Kayla K. Johnston because that is technically my stage name. That is what I go by in all of my professional productions. It distinguishes me from any other Kayla Johnston out in the world, and that's what you want when you are using a stage name. Right underneath your name, you should have whatever email address you want to use to be contacted by professional theater productions, by agencies, by children's theater productions, whatever is the easiest contact email for you, you want to have that information right underneath your name so that it's easy to find. In the second line, underneath your name and your email, you should have a couple different things. You should have your height, you should have your hair color, and your eye color. And sometimes people ask me why that stuff is important. And the reason why is because when people are trying to cast a character, they have a certain look in their mind and they want to make sure that that look is maintained with whoever is playing the part. So your height has a lot to do too with partnering. If you have a partner, if you have a dance partner, height makes a lot of difference, as well as eye color, hair color. Those things can change, but it's nice for a member of the casting crew to know those things about you on paper before even seeing a picture of your face. Now, one thing I see people put on this second line that you don't need to put is your weight. A lot of resumes have weight on it, but honestly, it's not something that the casting people need to know. The auditioners don't need to know exact numbers. If they love you for a part and they love you in your performance, they'll make measurements work. You have to take measurements to get into costume anyway, so they're gonna figure it all out eventually. They don't need to know right at the beginning how much you weigh. There's no judgment, and it's not important. So you don't need to put your weight on your resume. Something that I would encourage to make sure that we're in the boundaries of age range is if you are under 18 years old, it's good to put your age on your resume. You don't need to put your birthday. That might be information that they ask you on an audition form, but your age is important. If you are under 18 years old, there are different rules for you than there are for people over 18 years old, so it's good to know. If you are over 18, there is no reason why you need to put your age on your resume. That just puts preconceived notion in a casting director's mind. You should be able to show them how old you are through your maturity and your professionalism in the audition room. Okay, so next up is our theatrical experience. And you can have a lot of theatrical experience, you can have a little theatrical experience, doesn't matter, but if you are auditioning for a stage production, you definitely want to have this section first. If you have a lot of theater experience, you want to try to narrow it down to whatever productions you've been a part of in the last 5 years. As a person who is sitting behind the audition counter, I love that you have done 22 shows and you're 10 years old. However, it's a little bit overwhelming for me to try to find what you've done most recently. If you have a little bit and just a few pieces of theater experience, put it all on there. You want to make your resume as full as possible. But if you have a lot of shows on your resume, narrow it down to the last 5 years. And something else you want to do is you want to put it in importance according to what role you are auditioning for. For example, on my resume, I have played Judy Haynes in White Christmas. Judy Haynes is a really, really fun character. She's a very dance-heavy character. She's super sassy. She's very flirtatious and fun. And so if I'm going for a role that has some of those qualities, I might put Judy Haynes from White Christmas very first on my theatrical experience list. If it's something different, if it's a role where it's a little bit more heavy, or it's a woman who's independent and fiery and wants to do her own thing and wants to stand out from the crowd, I might take Josephine March from Little Women, which I've also played, and put that at the top of my resume. You don't have to put dates on your resume. You don't have to put the year or when that you played those roles, but like I said, you want to limit it to the last 5 years so that we know it's recent and it's not super far in the past. And the way to display these roles is very simple. You first want to put the show that you were a part of. Then right next to it, you want to put your role, so whatever character you played. Right next to that, you want to put your company, so whatever company put on that production. And right next to that, you want to put director, because the theatrical world is a very small world. And if a person who is directing a production has a question about you as an actor, about you as a person in the rehearsal space, they might call up whoever was your director before to ask questions about you before casting. And so you want to be able to put all that information out there so that it's easy for a casting director to look you up and figure out who you are. Now the next couple of sections can kind of flip-flop depending on what you're auditioning for, but like I said, we are looking at a musical theater production resume today, and so we are going to do our theatrical experience first, and then next will be either film or dance experience. So if you are not a dancer, but you are auditioning for a musical theater production, you still want to put as much experience on there as possible. So if you have done anything in film, whether it's a short film or it's a music video or you've been an extra in a feature film, especially if you are young, you want to put those things on your resume underneath a film section. If you are doing a film section, you will have your film title, the character that you played, and whether it was a leading role or supporting role or extra role. And then you want to put the production company that you were with and the director. Or if you are a dancer and you have dance experience, you definitely want to list that right underneath your theatrical experience. A musical production obviously has a lot of singing and dancing in it, so you want to showcase that you have experience in the dance world. When listing your dance experience, you want to make sure that it's things like big companies that you've been a part of, or big productions you've been a part of, or if you've been a part of a pre-professional program. Those are the types of things that you want to put on your dance resume. Another section you can add to your resume if you're trying to make it look more full is commercial and print. So if you've ever done anything for a commercial, whether it's an online commercial or a TV commercial, or you've done modeling, you can add those things to your resume to show, especially as a child actor, as a young actor, to show that you worked professionally and you have experience working in a studio space where you had to be dedicated and you had to show professionalism. Personally, I don't have any commercial or print experience, or not big enough that I would list on my personal resume. But like I said, if you're trying to fill up a resume, do as much as you can to make you look and feel as professional as possible. Now, the next section that you want to place underneath all of your professional experience is your training. As a young actor or actress, training is a huge part of your resume because it shows how dedicated you've been to the craft up until this point. Even if you have very, very little actual performance credit, if you have great training credit and you have a great reputation for working hard, you will get cast. You will get cast. So when it comes to listing your training, you want to list specific studios that you've worked with. You want to list if you have had teachers that you absolutely love that might be notable in the theatrical and entertainment industry. Those things on your resume will help show the people who are casting that you worked hard, that you continue to work hard, and that you're a good learner, that you're willing to train to get better at all of these different skills. The next spot on your resume is the awards section. Now this is also an optional section. However, if you have won any awards that might be pertinent to whatever role you're playing, it's a great idea to list them. So as a young actor or actress, you definitely want to list things like, I won first place at the Linnea Festival, the Drama Festival, or I was first in my category in a dance competition. Anything like that, it's good to list so that an auditioner can look at it and say, oh, this person was the best in their age group or the best in their area at what they were trying to do, whether it be singing, dance, acting, anything professional. That's a great idea to list on your resume. Now, the last section that you want to put on your resume is the special skills section. Now, a lot of people ask, well, what are special skills? I've already listed all of my acting experience and dance training and all the things. What else am I supposed to list? Well, if you think about it, so say you're auditioning for a musical production like Seussical the Musical, and there's a lot of room to be creative and think outside the box. You want to list skills that might be helpful in creating those big, crazy moments. So for myself, things that I list are accents that I know that I have practiced and I have in my back pocket. If you've not practiced an accent and you don't actually know that you're good at it, don't list it as a special skill. You only want to list accents that you have actually worked really hard to perfect and you can pull out of a hat. So those are accents. There are a number of other things that you can list. So on my special skills, I have beginning acoustic guitar. I also have beginning fencing skills. And I also speak intermediate French. So if there's a character that needs to speak French, they can trust that I know what I'm going to pronounce and how to pronounce it correctly. All of those things are great to put on your special skills section. Other things that you may have that I don't, if you've been a cheerleader, put it down there. If you have horseback riding skills, put it down there. If you are a really good hula hooper, put it down there. Those are the types of skills that you never know are going to come in handy in a production, in a film, anything that might make you stand out as someone that's different than the rest of the crowd, especially for a musical like Seussical the Musical, where there are so many things happening at once. You could be a tightrope walker. You could be aerial yoga instructor. You can do all of these things that might make a creative moment really, really special, and it'll help you stand out when you audition. Well, everybody, that's how you create a theatrical resume. You can have as much on it as you want, as little on it as you want, as long as it is clean and nicely laid out and easy to navigate for whoever is auditioning at the event, at the production company that you're going to be successful. So thank you for watching, and cheers.